Welcome to the Aging Well Firefighter, the podcast for first responders, our families, and the communities we serve. Whether you're on the front lines or standing with us, I'm here to help you fight wisely and age bravely. On my birthday in 2023, my dad collapsed and was taken to the hospital. Now, he wasn't initially expected to survive the night, but he actually did and wound up getting moved into hospice at a location that was a roughly 90-minute drive from my home. Now, we knew at that time that he didn't have much time left, so I was driving down there 2 to 3 days a week for like 6 weeks until he passed away. And once he did, of course, the process of planning for his memorial service began, which involved even more driving, as well as preparing to deliver his eulogy, which fell to me as the oldest of 6 siblings. So why did I bring that up? Because that was an incredibly stressful time for everyone, of course, but for me, I was studying for my first fire instructor certification. I was preparing to be one of the educational presenters at our state firefighter convention. And I was working in my regular job as well. And I knew at the time that that level of stress was not sustainable. And that if I wanted to stay healthy, I needed to plan rest and recovery into my schedule. So I intentionally backed off on the volume and the intensity of my workouts to compensate and try to keep my body as healthy as I could. I knew that I needed to protect my body and mind, and that was the step that I took. As much as I wanted to continue pushing, sometimes the bravest and the smartest thing you can do is rest. And for today's episode, I want to talk about why rest is not a sign of weakness. If you read my most recent article, I really honestly do believe, and I push with my clients, that rest is a critical part of a high performance schedule, especially in high stress professions like fire and EMS. If you've known me for a while, you know that I was very heavy into triathlon for a long time. And triathlon is what actually kicked off my love of running. And I'm going to do a whole other episode that talks a little bit more about that story. But for now, I want to point out that the serious amateur athletes and the pros in triathlon, in marathon, in ultra marathon, if you look at how they train, they don't just go harder every week. They don't do what's called a straight linear progression where you just keep pushing harder and longer every single week. They use something that in the fitness industry is commonly referred to as undulating periodization. And if you look at a graph of their volume and intensity of their work, you'll see that it looks almost like steps. It'll climb up a little bit and it'll peak, and then the volume and intensity will drop down below where they actually just came from. And then they'll use that rest period to adapt, and then they'll start to build up and up and up again. And it's a series of up and down curves that gradually get taller and taller. So basically what they're doing is they're planning for harder weeks and easier weeks with building, and they program rest in on purpose. The best self Self-coached amateur athletes and the best coaches of pro athletes will do this for their athletes. It's not a sign of weakness. It's basic physiology, baby. It's how you get stronger and avoid injury and burnout and overtraining syndrome in your schedule. I bring that up because I want to circle that back around to fire and EMS. We need to be just as strategic with our recovery, both from physical exercise and from drilling and education, as those pros are. I have seen a number of kind of beginner fitness people who think they need to constantly push hard every single week to get stronger. And that's actually how you burn yourself out. I have seen that not only in the beginner fitness athletes that I have witnessed, but I've seen that repeatedly in the fire service. It's kind of like that meme you see of that like black and white picture of the 1890s or 1900s bare knuckle boxer dude with the big bushy mustache. And I saw a meme that used that picture, and it said, "Rest day, show me where my rest muscle is and how to train it," as if it's somehow unreasonable to take a day off of training. It's not. If the pros are programming rest into their training schedule, if they're considering rest training, why do we in fire and EMS treat it like we should be guilty about taking rest? We should be guilty about taking a day off. We think that we should be constantly grinding and constantly hustling, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. We need to take care of ourselves. And I want to challenge you to rethink what toughness really means. It's tough to take a step back and consider resting from efforts. So what would happen? Think about it. What would happen if you treated rest as part of your training and not some kind of guilty reward or guilty pleasure? Treat it as part of the schedule, not something aside from your schedule. That grind is unsustainable, just like I realized I couldn't sustain all the effort and stress when my father was going through hospice and I was trying to spend his last several weeks with him. I knew I needed to ease back on my volume and my intensity and my training. The grind that we sometimes subject ourselves to in fire and EMS is unsustainable. You need to plan rest in. I just finished 4 months of advanced EMT classes. I was doing that when I was getting up at a little after 4 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I was working in my business with group exercise classes and clients almost all day, and then going to class from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at night, getting up and working the next day, doing that twice a week. And that was in addition to spending time with my family, doing all of my studying for class, doing clinicals, and working in my business and working with my paid on call and my career fire and EMS departments. That wasn't sustainable for me. I was mentally exhausted by the end of that, and I knew that I was going to need to take some mental health time after that. And I'm finally starting to feel like I'm getting back into the swing of things. There are physiological consequences to ignoring rest. And if I had chosen to continue to push, either when my father was in hospice and I wanted to work out more, or if I tried to keep pushing after that AEMT class was done, I knew that bad things were going to happen. So here's where I want to give you the practical takeaways. I want to encourage you to look for ways to build rest into your schedule, just like the pros do. You do not have to be a pro to benefit from a rest-based approach. There is actually a thing in personal training called rest-based training. It's where you push hard until you feel like you need to take a break, and then you take a break. You can actually program an entire training day around that, an entire workout around that. You push hard until you feel like you need to rest, and then you rest until you feel like you can push hard again. And if that works for Olympians, it'll work for you too. It will work for you. So listeners, especially if you're in fire and EMS, here's my challenge to you. I want you to take a hard look at your week and do it. Do it right now. But even put me on pause if you need to. Do it. Take a look at your week. Where are you grinding yourself down in the name of being tough? Where could you intentionally build in rest, whether it's a lighter workout with stretching and foam rolling, whether it's a mental health break, whether it's a real day off. Imagine that, taking a real day off where you just relax for the day. This is not about being soft. It's about being smart and about being sustainable. Everyone, the best athletes, the best firefighters, the best leaders out there all know that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And if you try to continually do that without refilling, you are going to wind up dry as a bone. So this week, here's my challenge for you. I want you to do 3 things. Number 1, I want you to schedule an actual real rest day. A rest day from training, a rest day from physical exercise, or even if you can't do that, just a lighter day. Something where you put forth easy effort. Put it on your calendar and protect that date like you would an important appointment. Number 2, I want you to share this commitment that you made to a real rest day with a friend, with your crew. Put it on social media. Make it public and make it real. Have people hold you accountable to it. And then number 3, after you've done that, reflect on it. How did you feel? How did you feel at the beginning of it? How did you feel by the end of it? Did you notice a difference after that in your energy, in your mood, in your performance, in physical training, or in studying, or in drilling? And if you're willing to, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message or tag me on social media or drop a comment here on this post. Let's start a conversation about what happens when we rest like the pros and not just endlessly grind like the beginners, the amateurs. And I want you to remember that next time you're tempted to skip a rest day, next time you're tempted to push through when you can tell that you're just not up for it, that your body's not feeling it, that your mind is tired, ask yourself, am I training hard or am I training smart? Think about your future self and your crew and all the people who count on you that will thank you when you train smart. We're all in this together. And I'm going to share my tagline with you because I think it's important. It's what I'm all about in this podcast and in these articles. I want you to fight wisely and age bravely.